America's original and #1 vacuum sealing brand.
You're watching Midway USA's Wednesday Night at the Range.
The beginnings of the NRA take us back nearly 150 years ago.
NRA All Access starts right now.
Today on NRA All Access, we're going to meet a lady who's not afraid to stand up and speak openly in defense of the Second Amendment, or write about it. Emily Miller, columnist and author, is going to share her personal story of how being a victim to a home invasion led her to try and legally obtain a firearm in Washington, D.C. Then we're going to head over and meet with our friends at NRA News, America's #1 source for Second Amendment issues. You're going to learn how everyone works so hard to make the show such a success and bring the Second Amendment news to you on a daily basis. So don't go anywhere. We're coming right back on NRA All Access.
I love to write. You know, it's a great passion, and I feel that when you write something down for people, it gives them a time to think through it, to reference back to it. I mean, an article I write in a paper or a book I write always is sort of a place people go for the facts. There's something about something that's written versus TV or radio, which you can't really catch and you don't really know how to go back to the original source of it, that written journalism can provide. What I really wanted to do in my book is to sort of bring this back down to a few basic facts that I want people to know. And the biggest one to know is that no gun control law has ever reduced crime. The second most important fact I want people to know is that there is no correlation between gun ownership and gun crime, in the sense that more gun owners does not mean more crime. And the third one I really want people to understand, because this is so difficult to keep in mind when you watch the mass media, is that mass shootings have not increased. Now you're seeing the public switch and saying enough is enough. Well, I always knew I wanted to be involved in Washington in some way. I've always been interested in politics and interested in sort of impacting people's lives and making changes. So then I was at NBC News for a few years, and then ABC News, where I was associate producer. And then I decided that I'd been in Washington and I wanted to actually be in politics. So I worked on Capitol Hill for several years as press secretary. The reason I decided to become a gun owner in Washington, D.C. Was I was dog sitting for a friend at their house, and I took the dog for a walk. And in the time that I was gone, a man the police believed to be a drug addict got into the house and started robbing it. So when I came back into the house, he was in there robbing. He took my wallet, but I was able to talk him out of the house without hurting me, thank God. Then I decided, which was really stupid, but I decided to follow him and try to get a picture to show the police. And when I did, and I turned the end of the driveway, I found that he was with about 15 men. They're all standing around in 2 pickup trucks parked in the middle of the street. They saw me and started running at me. And I obviously got terrified and turned and ran back in the house, then called the police. Going to bed that night in this house, it was the first time in my life I thought, I just wish I had a gun by my night table. Then I could defend myself if those men come in. It really switched my thinking. So I set out to get a gun in D.C., and I had heard that it was difficult, but I had no idea what I was in for. And I went to my editor and I said, I'm getting a gun in D.C. I know it's difficult. How about I write about it? He said, that's a great idea. I said, I think it'll take about 2 weeks. Famous last words. 4 months later, I finally registered one gun to keep at home. And I just kept writing it, as my editor once said, in excruciating detail, what it took to get a gun. People were just shocked by what was going on. You know, it's not just D.C., it's New Jersey, it's Maryland, it's New York, it's a lot of these states, California, have these crazy laws. But that's how I became so pro-Second Amendment and have become so active on this issue, is because what I went through to get a legal gun in D.C. is so outrageous, because I have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. I was pleased at the end of all of this, because the City Council was so shamed nationally about their laws. They did pass a law right after my series finished to make it slightly easier to register a gun. So instead of being 17 steps, it's 11 steps. The only purpose of this registration law, which is really the purpose of all gun control laws, is to infringe on the rights of the law-abiding.
When we come back, we're going to hear more from Emily and her story, and also how she fights and stands up for the Second Amendment.
Is that pretty dangerous, Arnold? Did Buffalo come at you?
Dangerous one.
If Buffalo is wounded, is mad and tried to charge you?
Yeah.
You heard 5 shots, which is a lot. Corey's a good shot. What the heck are they doing over there? Corey out there?
Get into the reloading red zone with reloading tools from Hornady. Innovation, craftsmanship, and reliability. Hornady reloading presses are built with American pride and backed by our legendary no-risk warranty. Hand load precision with tools from Hornady.
Gorge Attractant from Hunter Specialties draws deer in like no other product.
Gorge is affordable and easy to use. Just pour it on the ground and watch them come back again and again.
Deer get addicted to the 28% protein and the irresistible flavor. Gorge is your ticket to bring them in close for that perfect shot.
Gorge Attractant by Hunter Specialties.
Pour it and they will come. And for a limited time, you can get a $5 mail-in rebate on any Gorge Attractant products.
I'm a pH 9. What's your pH factor? This is my gun. This is my Taurus. Carry on.
Honey, who's at the door?
The little cookie girls. We don't need any cookies. How are you doing? Yeah.
Well, hi. Would you like me to get this for you?
Pyramid Air, feeding your airgun addiction.
NRA All Access, presented by Taurus, is brought to you by Taurus, making better guns. Diamondback Firearms. Weatherby, where's yours? Lockton Insurance. No one understands firearm insurance better. Hunter's Specialties, the stuff of legends. Boyd, craftsman since 1901.
Welcome back to NRA All Access. Let's hear more from Emily on her journey and her personal story for the Second Amendment.
What I think is really neat about journalism now is with social media, people find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook, or comment on my stories. I can learn about their lives, or if there's a story I'm missing that's important to them or this country. And, you know, years ago, we wouldn't have been able to have that access to readers. The problem, I think, though, right now, journalism is with the web, people don't know how to differentiate between something that's passed around on their Facebook page or they find it on a blog versus credible journalism. Especially in the gun community, we have these kind of recurring myths being created or urban legends being created. For example, last year, the idea that the Department of Homeland Security was buying up all the civilian ammo, and that's why we had ammo shortages. And I've repeatedly written stories, and I wrote about my book that the ammo shortages are not from government demand, they're from civilian demand. The ammo companies have all said civilian demand leading up to Obama's re-election and then after Noontown has really decimated their supplies, and they can't keep it up. But yet people still ask me that question wherever I go about the government buying up the ammo. So I just want to say to them, read legitimate news sources. You will never see a legitimate news source publish that because it's just not accurate. And I also think it's important because with the gun control fight, there's so many important things we have to fight about. I mean, we've got a police officer in Connecticut saying we're going to confiscate your weapons. We have New Jersey about to pass a bill that will make .22 caliber youth rifles a felony in their state. I mean, there are legitimate issues every day in this country, so I don't want people to waste time or energy getting angry at these few things that are myths on the side and just focus on the ones that they really need to get involved in. And that's what I feel so strongly about the Second Amendment. What we're fighting for is our individual liberty and our individual responsibility to defend ourselves and defend whether it's against government tyranny or self-defense in the home. It's about individual responsibility and our rights that are in the Constitution. And it just astounds me that something as simple as the Second Amendment, so short, so simple, can be deliberately ignored by various levels of our government. And it's about our rights. And so whether it's any of the Bill of Rights, any pieces of it, I'm going to fight for. But this is the one that's really at the forefront of being attacked right now.
But people like me, law-abiding people, can't get guns to defend themselves. And I really just want to wake people up to what's going on and to give them the facts they need so they can arm themselves and talk to their colleagues and talk to their neighbors about the real facts about gun control and violence. And I don't have the right to bear arms in Washington, D.C.
We're told not to be self-reliant. Don't be able to take care of yourself.
It's the Bloomberg nanny mentality of this country, you know. And Bloomberg, so we all know, is spending right now millions and millions of dollars going after senators whose votes he just didn't like on gun control.
I do think there's value in going on these outlets because it's educational. It's educational for them, and it's educational for their audience.
They don't want me leaving the house with my gun. I mean, that's what this is about. And they sure don't want anyone in this country going from Virginia to Maryland with their guns through D.C. They don't sort of care about the, 100,000 illegal guns that are circling every day and, like, violent crime is up double this year.
Yeah.
Since I've become vocal in defending the Second Amendment and opposing gun control, I have gotten a mixed reaction, both personally and publicly. I mean, I've gotten family members who won't speak to me. People have defriended me on Facebook. I had someone at my church say, "You're not the same person who taught my children Sunday school." And some of these experiences have been really painful, but I know that my perspective and my beliefs are based on facts, and I know that theirs are based on emotion. On the flip side, I have found gun owners in this country and pro-Second Amendment people to be the most kind, generous, patriotic people. I have had the most amazing time the past 6 months on this book tour. People are just so enthusiastic about the Constitution, about their rights. I mean, they've never felt so shocked, really, by the federal government, the president, really attacking those rights. So they're rarely engaged. And it's so inspiring. You know, people really care about their country, care about their individual rights and their basic rights, their fundamental rights, and really encourage me and have been so welcoming in this community. The gun groups are amazing. I mean, from the NRA to all these pistol rifle clubs to all the Second Amendment Foundations groups around the country. I mean, people are very organized and really put their personal time into this cause. Actually, here at the NRA range is where I learned to shoot for the first time. And I thought it through and I thought, you know, for me, it's really not about guns. Like, I train regularly, but I'm not on the range in my spare time. So for me, it's really not about the gun, it's about the rights. And so that's how in my book, because I said, I really don't call myself pro-gun, I call myself pro-Second Amendment. Because a gun is just a tool, but this fight is for freedom.
You know, it's so inspiring to see Emily's passion and persistence for the Second Amendment and standing up and fighting for it strong. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to bring you more from NRA News Headquarters, right here on NRA All Access.
The NRA is a dedicated group of over 4 million Americans working to protect your Second Amendment rights. And the NRA store is your official source for NRA gear. You'll find range bags, hats, clothing, home and office decor, tactical and shooting gear, gun cases, books, and much, much more. And 100% of NRA store profits go directly to support vital NRA programs. Visit nrastore.com or call for a free catalog.
From the forests and fields of our homeland to the front lines of foreign shores, when you reach for your gun, reach for the one America depends on. Mossberg. Field